Thank you for being here. I just want to say before I get started, I started with this company just 6 weeks ago. And I'm very well scripted today, that's for sure, just so I don't sound ridiculous. So if it looks like I'm reading, it's because I am reading, in fact. But it is still really a great pleasure to be here. I think, I've been listening to a bunch of the symposiums so far. And this one's about saving money, which is great. I can tell you for sure, the one thing I learned in the 6 weeks that I've been in fulfillment, and no matter that it's Wine Direct or wherever it is, one thing I learned is that if you want to move the needle on cost savings, you're in the right room right now. This is actually very impactful. If you want to save some money, you need to look at what you're doing with the fulfillment side of things, because it's not small money. It's very big money, in fact. Anyway, I'm delighted that you stayed after lunch. I really appreciate it. My name is Jim Silver, Chief Sales Officer. This is Devin Joshua, Vice President of Sales at Wine Direct, and I'm going to start reading. Anyway, I did have a question here for you, which is, when does the wine start? Because I'm actually ready for that. We're not going to keep you too long. We're going to get to some very good information. I'm going to philosophize. Devin is going to give you hard facts and figures that actually make sense. Oh, sorry, I'm supposed to do this thing. There you go. Anyway, 6 weeks doesn't sound like a lot of time to be at Wine Direct, but I have been in the wine business now for 33 years, which is hard to believe. I don't think I've ever done anything else. The nice thing about Wine Direct, though, it makes a real commitment to our industry, and that's what I found really satisfying. The commitment to the industry is real. The tech is real. The quality of product that I have to sell is quite real. There's a level of care and concern for your product, safe and sound delivery to your customers. It really make a lot of sense. You'll be surprised, delighted to know how very seriously we take all of this. Do I switch this? I do. There you go. Anyway, Wine Direct Fulfillment continues to innovate what is already best-in-class fulfillment systems. I think a lot of you may know this. Recently, we've invested another $7 million in improving our American Canyon facility. We've been building a remarkably modern state-of-the-art fulfillment center in Paso Robles, which turns out to be a fantastic way to reach all of California in a day. We know we're the last people to touch your bottle of wine before it heads off to the customers, and we know that especially speed and accuracy is really what matters in this part of the business. Right now, we're showing less than 1% return rate on shipments for the entire year of 2024 and into 2025. And yet, we do have a lot of customers that come to us from other places that report as high as 5% return rate, which is just unacceptable, for whatever reason that is. I think it's very good, especially if you're considering saving money, to start thinking about, what is my return rate? Instead of listening to what I say it is, why don't you check your numbers and find out what your return rate really is? Take a look. You might be surprised. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, anything longer than 5 days in transit increases the return rate of your package tenfold. And that is unacceptable. Not to mention, there's a big increase in abandoned cart rates as well. We also know that a single returned package, a single return case of wine to your winery, can cost $300, even more, not counting the wine that's in the box. So this gets very, very expensive, and it's obviously what we're trying to avoid most of all. And I think all of you know pretty well that you're using very good e-commerce systems. You know perfectly well that the sale is not finished when the customer hits buy, that it's only really the beginning of the sales transaction at that point. Since speed and accuracy are our primary tenets, and since the sale actually in January of Wine Direct SAAS to Commerce 7, we've been focused 100% of our time on what we do best, which is fulfillment. Wine Direct fulfillment. That's all we do at this point. The last thing I want to say as part of this introduction is pretty much about the state of the industry. If you were here for the first presentation today, you saw an interesting set of numbers. But we knew that. We knew all that. To put it mildly, the economy right now is churning hard. The customer is changing. The customer is getting older. Their habits are changing. They're getting younger too. They're abstaining. There's a tremendous amount of economic uncertainty at the moment, as you know. We have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow or next Wednesday, and will there be 100,000% tariff on something or other. And last week, interestingly, this is interesting to me because I spent 6 years working to improve the Canadian market. Month versus March of last year, exports to Canada dropped 73%. I mean, that's just extraordinary. That's our #1 export market. So we have to really tighten up our business. And I think investing in DTC is always the best way to go at this point in time. It's not going to get any easier, and certainly not anytime soon. But that said, we're here to discuss seamless wine fulfillment, aren't we? Isn't that the title here? And how we can save money, and we're going to do just that. Again, things that I've learned as the new guy at WineDirect. WineDirect does not choose to be your cheapest fulfillment option. We're not. WineDirect Fulfillment wants to be your best option. By far the most advanced option, the most technically advanced option, the most accurate option. Not many in this room would probably say they ship inexpensive wine. In Napa, that makes it, that's 3 times more. But fulfillment is not inexpensive either, not by any means. So that means speed, efficiency, accuracy, and above all, transparency in the fulfillment process, in your billing, in being able to reconcile your own bills is what really we should be looking for. That actually lends a much greater understanding of your own business if you can reconcile your bills. It's very hard to write a budget, which I've done for many years, and it's harder still to adhere to that budget if you don't know what you're really spending your money on. So we really do shoot a lot for accuracy and transparency. The one thing you want to look out for that's biggest peak surcharges. There are a lot of things that you want to look out for, not the least of which delays, withholds, fuel surcharges, fees from the carriers, unhappy customers, any conversation that begins with "Where's my wine?" That's like the worst thing in the world. To us, the best fulfillment is hassle-free fulfillment, total accuracy. A lot of our customers are experiencing 100% accuracy, certainly system-wide 99+% accuracy. And I think I wrote that. I thought that was really cool. The best way to deliver an experience is to have experience with delivery. And that's really what we do. That is my little bit of introduction before we get going. I'm going to give the microphone to Devin, and Devin's going to give you some stuff that really matters.
Thank you, Jim. So I'm just curious, looking out at the room here, by a show of hands, how many people in this room actually work for a winery? All right, keep your hands up. Of those folks, how many of you actually do your own in-house fulfillment? Great, all right, put them down, thank you. Really interesting, glad I did that. So, good afternoon. I'm gonna look a bit as well. I've got a lot of text here. So before we get into strategy and optimization, it helps to talk about why outsourcing this part of your business really makes sense. Some of the benefits are obvious, some are less so, but walking you through the details may help you to reevaluate what's possible for you and what you should ask from your fulfillment partner. The goal here is to take pressure off your team while improving both your bottom line and your customer's shipping experience. Let's take a look at some of the most straightforward reasons to outsource your fulfillment. Freeing up space, pretty obvious. The valuable square footage that you have to do hospitality and production, you don't want to have to use that for wine shipping. Freeing up staff, also pretty obvious. It's hard to quantify exactly how much it costs to have your staff packaging and taping up boxes. And I'm sure that most of you guys who actually do your own fulfillment can come up with some really good ideas and reasons and things that you could do other than pack up boxes. So freeing up staff is a really important thing. Better rates. We all understand that today more than ever. It's really important to save where you can. And operational consistency. Eliminating the need for extra shipping help during busy times allows for wineries to consistently maintain fast and accurate shipping through all seasons. Now let's look at some of the less obvious reasons that it might be a good idea to outsource your fulfillment. So better order accuracy. Our team of experts catch mistakes before they happen. And when the little things are scaled, they become big things. So the more accurate you can be, obviously, the better off it is for everybody. Speaking of scale, customization at scale enables differentiated offerings that boost customers' loyalty and increase the average order value. This also reduces internal complexity, and customization doesn't have to mean chaos. Here's one that you don't think about all that often, but it's becoming more and more important: lowering insurance premiums. Storing all of your inventory in temperature-controlled and fire suppression-enabled facilities is much more important today to insurers. So if that's not something that's on your radar yet, it's something that you should definitely be giving some thought to. And along the same path, reduced risk from fire, theft, or seismic events. Some other things: simplifying vendor relationships allows you to benefit from our efficiencies and saves you time and money. Safer shipping through our northern and southern line haul options protects your wines against excessive heat and cold. Returns handled for you, so you don't have to do it yourself. And bi-coastal shipping. It's faster and safer and cheaper, and something that is really, really important. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about this later. So drilling down to something that really sets us apart is advanced business reporting. So this is a big benefit worth exploring in some detail. Working with Wine Direct Fulfillment allows you to have real-time access to metrics that your winery really can benefit from. So average zones, parcel weights, shipment by service level, time in transit, low inventory alerts, aging inventory, and many more. All these metrics can be used to highlight, all of these metrics can be used to highlight year-over-year changes, and you can compare your metrics to industry averages to see where you can improve and save yourself some money. It's really difficult to improve your shipping without having solid metrics. And the ability to benchmark adds even more utility, so you're not looking at your numbers in a vacuum. At Wine Direct Fulfillment, we've invested heavily in building systems that our partners better understand, that allow our partners to better understand their business. And with greater visibility and actionable insights, it becomes easier to reduce costs, elevate the customer experience, and improve retention over time. The economies of scales achieved by outsourcing fulfillment can be leveraged to level the playing field, especially for smaller producers. And this is even true for larger wineries as well. Whether you're big or small, the technology you use can act as an equalizer. The wine industry is often criticized. I haven't heard it much today, but it's often criticized for not staying on the leading edge of technology. And lately we've made some strides in that direction. Wine Direct has integrations with many of the most popular platforms, as you can see up here, and we're actively working on integrating with many more. Now, I mentioned bi-coastal shipping a minute ago, and it's really the sweet spot, again, combining speed and safety and cost reduction. So let's take a closer look at the ripple effects of using our bicoastal shipping strategy. This solution combines our West Coast Fulfillment Center with our center in Glen Willow, Ohio. So I'll break down the benefits of bicoastal shipping into 3 categories. The first is speed, as I said before, really important. Using our bicoastal solution, we can ship to 90% of people who want to enjoy your wine within 1 to 3 days via ground. So if an order is placed on a Monday, it can be delivered via ground to customers in New York, Kansas City, Atlanta, Chicago, DC, basically any place in the East on Tuesday or Wednesday. In fact, you can reach, again, as I was saying, 90% of the country within 3 days, often much quicker. Whoops. Safety, sorry about that. Avoid shipping across the hottest part of the US. And cold packs can be included at any warehouse of origin, including our Ohio warehouse. And service. Customers are more likely to be available to sign for packages that spend less time in transit. So it's easier for customers to plan for a 1 or 2 day transit time instead of a 4 to 5 day transit time. This, of course, minimizes missed delivery attempts and returns, and it helps to ensure cold bottle delivery if ice packs are included. So to recap, bicoastal shipping gets your wine to customers faster while keeping it safer and doing so at a lower price, something that's really, really important. And again, something that you really need a fulfillment partner to help you with. I know that many of you already use our bicoastal solution or something similar to that, and I wanted to point out a few things that differentiate our product. Our fulfillment centers are state-of-the-art, and they all talk to each other using the same warehouse management software. And in our network, you always know where your wine is 100% of the time, even when it's in transit between different facilities. We use algorithms and our account management team to have the appropriate amount of inventory at all locations at all times. And orders are automatically routed to the fulfillment center that will get your wine to the customer fastest. We have something exciting that's coming up. We're just about to launch it called Next Nearest Warehouse Logic. And that's a new tool that will allow us to actually automatically pivot. And if the facility that's closest to your customer doesn't have the proper inventory, it'll automatically be flipped to ship from the next best facility. Now let's look at a real-world example of how bicoastal shipping makes an impact. So this is an example of what we call our bicoastal shipping analysis. This was done for a California brand, and this is basically showing numbers if they were shipping exclusively from a West Coast facility and not using our Glen Willow facility. You can see it's about $1.1 million in shipping fees. The average zone is 6.27, and so it goes. Time in transit, average time in transit, almost 4 days. Now, when you include the Glen Willow facility, you see lots of great things: a reduction in price, a reduction of 2 full zones, and the average time in transit drops by almost a day and a half. So this sort of shows the delta here. So it's about 15% in cost savings just by using that second warehouse. And as I was saying before, the average zone reduction is over 2, and the time in transit is almost a day and a half faster, which really represents big savings of both time, money, and the safety of the wine. One thing to note here as well, WDI is our American Canyon facility, and then GLW is Glen Willow, which is our Ohio facility. And you can see in this model, over half of the wine is shipping from the bicoastal, the forward warehouse in Ohio, which isn't necessarily the case, but it's great when that happens. And we found that any brand that's shipping 25% of their wine from the Ohio facility. They're going to see significant savings. Obviously, the more that you can utilize that forward warehouse, the better off you'll be. So just something to keep in mind. So the great thing about bi-coastal shipping is that you enjoy all of these benefits, improved speed, safety, and service, again, while reducing costs. And we're happy to analyze 12 months of your data and put it in a model like this to see what it might do for you. Doesn't cost anything to find out, and you don't even have to sign an NDA. So come and see us if you're interested. Moving on, reducing cost with our northern and southern line haul. So temperature-controlled trucks have a schedule where they leave weekly from our West Coast facilities, and they go to our facilities in Arizona, Texas, Florida, and Ohio, where ice packs can be inserted before handoff to common carriers for last-mile delivery. As you can see, the right fulfillment strategy can dramatically improve efficiency, safety, cost, and customer experience. But even the best shipping plan falls short without smart, protective packaging that reflects your brand. Now I'm going to hand it back to Jim to take a closer look at how packaging choices play a critical role in preserving quality, reducing damage, and enhancing the unboxing experience.
Packaging. I've been through this a million times. I'm sure you have too. Packaging can be a blessing. It can also be a curse. You know, the box there. Some bottles are of different sizes, different weights, odd shapes, odd oddities, wax tops, wooden boxes, add-ins that we like to send to our customers, like cutting boards, corkscrews, jewelry. That's a new one to me. Books, blankets, gifts, all sorts of other things that have odd shapes and can make shipping difficult. That may require a good deal of customization. Some of the better fulfillment houses, you know, are very good at this, but it all comes at a cost. Not saying that this is a bad idea to send them stuff, that it can't be accomplished. We certainly can. But if we're going for efficiency, if we're here to talk about saving money and optimize our performance, we're going to have to begin by reducing weight. And it's just exactly what you think that's going to be. It's about lighter weight bottles, lighter weight packages. There's been a lot of talk recently in the industry about lighter weight bottles, and I think it's a pretty great thing that bottles could get smaller, lighter, much easier to deal with. It directly impacts your shipping costs because it's based a lot on weight. And that is a significant cost savings, especially when you multiply that by hundreds of thousands, millions of bottles. Optimized packaging and consistency in your packaging means that the bottles are better protected too. And if they're thinner, this is probably a good idea. That clearly saves money. Customers at home who are receiving optimized and intelligently assembled sustainable packaging, especially the kind that is much easier to dispose of, are enjoying a better experience from your winery too. Their satisfaction is being met. You're building trust, of course. We talked a lot about that already. Conversely, you're going to test their loyalty when you send them styrofoam. It's impossible to dispose of, nearly impossible. But you know this is especially important if the wine is a gift or if it's for a special occasion. That styrofoam can get quite annoying. Customization allows wineries to not just send gifts, but to communicate value to their customers as well. And all of that's reflected in the unboxing experience. I was talking to the fellows from Almaden today about the unboxing experience and putting inserts in. It's a terrifically fascinating part of the business that builds a lot of experience or better experience for the customer writ large. At scale, this is one of those very unique brand differentiation things that we're always looking for. We're always looking to be a little bit different than our competition. You're creating, as you know, an emotional connection. It's absolutely critical to retaining customers, and retaining customers, of course, is the top priority, and reducing that club churn, certainly above all. At our facility, we're very adept at utilizing custom shippers, toppers, inserts, gift boxes, greeting cards, personalized notes. Really, when the decision is made to send your customers a gift or a product or something that's outside of the norm, the first call should be to us to figure out how we're going to get it to the customer correctly, safely, in the most efficient way possible, so that we can build a solution for you. And we have space in the warehouse just for that. Sorry, time to press the button. Speaking of unboxing, the customer experience with packaging, all of this is part and parcel to our seamless wine fulfillment discussion that we're having. We're establishing, and you're establishing with your customers, peace of mind, trust, a great deal of care, and a great deal of concern. Like I said, go into the boxes. Rips, tears, damaged foils, pushed corks, broken wax, that kind of thing. These never make it to the customer. And I think this was really interesting to me. I told you I'm new, so I'm still getting tours and I'm still meeting all the people in the warehouse. And I was with a client taking a tour of the warehouse. This is really fascinating to me. The last people to touch the wine are the QC people, the quality control people, and they're the ones that put the wine. Not only put the wine in the box, they take it back out again to make sure it's correct, the order is correct. And before they put it back in, I saw this nice lady with a microfiber cloth cleaning all the bottles, putting them in the box, label side up, so that the presentation was perfect. And why I thought this was a particularly interesting thing was because none of those bottles were over $20. And it didn't matter to her that they were cheap. They're not cheap, that they were inexpensive wines. These weren't $300 bottles in Napa Cab. They were $20 bottles of wine. And it was cared for in exactly the same way. And I thought that was terrific, really fascinating too, really impactful, something salespeople like me like to sell. Anyway, technically speaking, this means you have, seamless wine fulfillment means your customers are going to get the right wines in perfect condition like we're promising. And it sounds simple enough, but this goes even further. And you need an advanced intuitive system to accomplish all of this. And technically speaking, this means you also have an intuitive dashboard, which I've been lucky enough to learn a little bit more about. You get to work with real-time inventories, real visibility of your inventory, even if they're in transit. As Devin said, you know where your stuff is all the time. You can reroute a package with a click. I didn't know you could do this. You could reroute a package with a click, and UPS gets notified, and no further steps are taken from that point. You do it through our portal. And I thought that was really, really fantastic. This also means our smarter routing algorithms are also designed to save you money. Skipping zones where possible, as we were talking about, reducing waste, reducing errors. These algorithms are helping you maintain inventory levels at the correct and accurate level in each of the facilities. Less wine is being stranded in the facilities. And a better assessment of your needs before you even send us the wine, which is good planning for sure. To me, the best part of what Devin was saying before, your wine is leaving California at 55 degrees, stays 55 degrees all the way to Ohio, remains at 55 degrees all the way to Miami, and you're doing this all at ground rates. So with this kind of thoughtfulness in the bicoastal solution, you're saving a tremendous amount of money. As Devin said, 90% of the country, this is a repeat, 90% of the country is achievable with 1 to 3 day shipping or less. Really, the vast majority of that is 1 and 2 days. A huge amount of that is just 1 day, and that's all ground rates. Speed is paramount to seamless fulfillment. Speed is what I have been learning the most about. It means that an order transmitted to the winery, by the winery, to us by 1 p.m. can be delivered almost anywhere in the country the next day or in 2 days, however fast you want it to go. Did I go too far? Yes, I did. The DTC stakes are high. I actually really believe this. Like I said, I've been working on your side for 30 years, and this is a very strange period of time that we're in right now. DTC, I think, is what needs to be mined if we're going to save the bottom line of our businesses, if we're going to protect the bottom line of our businesses, is a better way of putting it. We haven't done nearly enough to really perfect that. And the reason you're here is part and parcel to that whole thing. It's not a very sexy part of the business, talking about wine fulfillment, I can tell you. Talking about inventory controls, but there it is. We know that when a package is returned, it's $300 on average, not counting the wine. And really, you have to ask yourself, what is the real cost of this? What is the cost of inefficiency? What is the value of your time? Or better, what's the value of your customer's time? A lot. No one here, and you do it all the time, I'm looking at two folks who do it all the time, want to spend all day tracking packages. They just don't. They want to be talking to the customers instead. They don't want to be asked, where is my wine? This is why we spend so much of our time at our company working on innovations, workarounds, compliance, new technology, new innovation if we can. And Devin spoke earlier about moving away from in-house fulfillment. I saw a couple of people who have left, wisely, that really could consider giving up their in-house fulfillment and letting us do it with our very, very efficient systems. We're trying to express the notion that we can do it better. We can make it cheaper. We can save you tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, given the opportunity. Our technology makes you more efficient. And when you can control your inventory every step of the way virtually or through the portal, not literally, not picking it up, putting it in a box, drawing a thing of tape over it, and waiting for the FedEx guy to come get it, you are being efficient by not doing that. Wine is heavy. Wine's expensive. The more efficient you are in this whole process, the more money you're saving, the more money you're making, period. That's what this is about. That's what it has to be about. And you can quantify this. You can literally quantify this. I had a customer out to lunch, and he was having a hard time figuring out what he really was spending on the shipping of his wine. I almost said wine shipping. On the shipping of his wine, because it wasn't actually wine shipping. And he was having a hard time figuring it out. And I said, well, just what are all the costs divided by all the number of bottles that you shipped? And the answer was $8.40 a bottle. I'm like, oh my God, really? We're talking millions. And I said, you really should let us do an analysis. Let's try to figure out what you can save. It was hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars that just bringing it all together could, that can be saved. Like I said before, most of our customers experience 100% accuracy with our systems. Our systems are very, very finely tuned. Demonstrably 99.9%. Obviously, mistakes happen every once in a while. But when they do, we'll pay for it. Did we screw up your package? We'll pay for it. Don't worry about that. We'll take care of that. Pro tips. I like this part. Let me say a few more things that are helpful, hopefully, in making a choice regarding fulfillment and your fulfillment solution. We have a long history in the wine business. My predecessor here at Wine Direct called it working in the engine room of the wine industry. I thought that was pretty clever. We value our relationships with our customers. We see ourselves as extensions of your business if we can. We're quite literally, every day, actively trying to save you money. That's our function, besides shipping packages. And we value the relationships with our clients very much. We see ourselves as, as your friends and partners. What you have to do for your business, though, is look out for certain things that can directly affect the bottom line of your business. You need to look for those things that are irreconcilable. You need to look for mysterious transportation fees, receiving fees. Go back to your accountant. Look for these things. Receiving fees, restocking fees, residential fees, oversized package fees, seasonal, carrier seasonal and volume surcharges, and my favorite, peak surcharges. We have not charged a peak surcharge in years, just so you know. It's just not how we do things. We try to be as transparent as possible. That's why the rate cards look different. They just do. We try to tell you everything that we possibly can. Make a good decision. Like I said, not the cheapest, the best. That's what we try. That's what we're trying for anyway. We don't slow down at OND. We don't break our agreement. We don't tell you that, oh, well, look, we're really busy. It doesn't happen. We don't slow down. We gave you an SLA. We gave you a service level agreement. We hold to it. We keep it. And if we make a mistake, we'll let you know and we'll pay for it. Your fuel surcharges that you're paying for, they're transparent. They were up on the screen. The fuel surcharges, if you saw them, they should be capped if you can. So, like I said, we don't like surprises. Everything should be reconciled. Your billing should be easily understood. When you write a budget, you should be able to adhere to it if you can. You should know what your GRI is. I just learned what that is too. And it should be capped. A GRI means your general rate increase. Try to know what that is before you sign your contract. It will help save a great deal of money. Rate increases are part of life, by the way. They happen. They're part of the economy. But they still need to be predictable. They still need to be understood where they're going to be. And another thing to look for, are you locked into your contract? How locked into your contract are you? You know, I've outside of this side of the business, I've been locked into contracts with Southern Wines and Spirits, with other distributors like that. That is not a pretty place. It is not a cool thing to be locked into a contract that's punitive, that charges you and penalizes you for wanting to break your contract because you don't like the service. You're stuck with Southern till you die. And that's not okay. And we don't want that for something that's like this. Wine fulfillment. If you want to change, if you are unhappy, you should be able to have a way to escape if you need to. Hopefully you don't need to from us. What's the length of that contract? Our contract is 8 pages long. How long is the contract you have? Take a look. I think it's fascinating to see. And over the years, contracts have become one of my specialties. I take them very, very seriously. 40-page long contract is a lot. That's like Leonardo DiCaprio's contract with, you know, a movie studio. That's just too much. It's too much. The last thing, the pro tip really for the day, is consult your lawyer. But before you get into a long contract with a company like ours or like anyone else's that you're going to spend a tremendous amount of money with, but consult your accountants too. And have them figure out, what am I really going to pay for any of this? That same friend of mine who told me $8.40 a bottle he was shipping, he was complaining to me, you know, there are certain pain points you have. He was telling me I said, what's your pain point? He says, well, you know, I've been with my house for a number of years. He said, but the only way I can communicate anymore is support@.com. That's it. And we're talking about a very large winery. And that's a pain point. We don't want that. There's half a dozen people here from our customer satisfaction department, if you will, that are extremely good at taking care of our customers. And I think that's starting to wander into a crass commercial message. I apologize. One thing I do want you to think about besides our account managers is that they can train you to be experts at this order portal as well and be expert at your particular task of tracking your wine, maintaining your wine, keeping your inventory, saving money. They'll show you that using our very, very advanced analytics, how much you can save, what you can do to be more efficient and faster. Anyway. And it's built in. If you're not using it, you really should be using it. If you don't have that, you need to have that. Because even no matter the size of the winery, this information is extremely valuable. It's how you get to know your customer, where they are. Lastly, thank you very much for listening to me drone on and on today. The last thing I want to say about the company, and I think it's very cool. Wine Direct Fulfillment is offsets 100% of its carbon emissions at no cost to our customers. We maintain wetlands around our facility. We use recycled water. We use night air exchangers to save on our electricity. We try to be as environmentally friendly as we possibly can. We are styrofoam free at this point. Nearly, I think, one more week. But that's all I'm going to say about that. I hope that if anything, we've inspired you to just think about what you're doing and examine what you're doing with your fulfillment and see if we can't save some money. Doesn't hurt to look. It really doesn't hurt to look. Anyway, let's do questions if you want. I'm going to try not to answer any of them.
Yes, please.
So with the, and I apologize, I know you had a proprietary name for it, but with the package that, for which inventory doesn't exist in California, so it ships out of Arizona or out of Ohio, say to New York, does the price rate change if it's shipping out of California?
No, that's a great question. The way the rates work is whatever speed you're sending it, it's going to be, like let's say it's ground. Regardless of what facility it's going out of, it'll be charged at ground rates.
Even if it has to jump back to a facility further away.
That's correct. Yeah. No, great question. Yeah. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you all so much for coming. And I think there was a QR code up there. I think maybe the next click. Yeah. Feel free to click that and contact us if you'd like us to do a bicoastal analysis or talk to you about anything with fulfillment. Thanks.